just for me. So, so we talk a lot about that, what grading will be like. Interestingly, the rubric never happened. So the teacher just never, at the end, it didn't seem like it was a really major concern for her, which was quite interesting. And we saw, the teacher and I also talked a lot about how we're going to present, or how we ask the students to present their own work. So finally, we decided on the idea of gallery walk. So we post, the student will bring their photos and create a poster to bring to a classroom. And on the day of the gallery walk, they will stand in front of their own posters. We just split the class into 2 sections. So they stand in front of their own poster, and the other half of the class will walk around and look at the pictures and read the descriptions they wrote and ask their friends questions. I could show you like a 30-minute, not 30-minute, second clip of what actually happened during the day of the gallery walk. So,
you just heard some space bar should go. Or not.
Go.
See the arrow? Give you a snapshot of what actually happened that day, and I didn't know what to expect. The teacher didn't either. But on the day of the gallery walk, the students seemed really enthusiastic about looking at the friends' photos and reading the stories or the written text that came with them. And they just seemed really engaged in the whole conversation. And also, after gallery walk, I was the one that led the focus group discussion, because unfortunately the gallery walk was set the second last class in the entire semester. So the students really didn't have an opportunity to sit down together and talk as a whole group. They only got to talk to each other during the gallery walk. And then we also, the teacher and I did peer debriefing, and we had our own reflection as a researcher and her as a teacher as well. And the next, it's going to be more interesting because I want to show you some of the samples and just some of the data that came from the students' work. I select these photos and the stories because I feel they are pretty good representations of the general themes that sort of emerge from all the students' work. So I'm going to show you these pictures, and you probably won't be able to read them that very well, but I'm just going to give you like a few minutes to look at all these pictures and talk to your neighbor just a little bit and see what things do you feel. I would say these are just representations of the whole. I have roughly really close to 300 photos and stories like this, and there's like some of the general things. So this is one. Would you like me to read this? Yes.
Okay, so the first, the one on the upper left corner, the one in blue.
I don't like to. I can't read it very well. Let's see. I don't like to listen to the Western music because I didn't understand. I didn't want to watching Western movies either because I don't understand. It's gonna be very challenging for me as well.
Just read the ones you can.
Okay. So, and that is a more clear picture of the whole thing. And I also wanted to read this one really quickly. So it says, this is a small cram school as well as for the first place I begin to learn English. It is called Grand. When I'm a child, I had a lot of passion for English. So I asked for my mom sent me to cram school. There are 10 to 20 students in my class. So the classroom is very narrow and small. Foreign teachers like to teach us English by playing a game. For instance, they like to throw the ball, and the first one to catch the ball can answer the questions and will get some bonus. It is kind of stupid, but I really enjoy the game in that time. Besides, I'm the lead in the class because my grade is the highest in class. The cram school really helped me a lot. Gives me the confidence and passion for learning English and makes me want to know more about language. This one is also easier to read. The website is very special. It provides many stories for children to read online. The most unusual thing is that all the tellers are famous people such as movie star, author, and so on. With the sound, there are pictures and words assisting realizing. If you want to practice your listening, it also can't conceal the caption. These stories are for children, so the contents are not difficult to understand. Sometimes I will be shocked that there are so many superstars tell a story. I believe that it can attract more and more people want to listen their idols tell stories. Of course, it can build on my listening abilities. So it's actually it's like a snapshot of a website called Storyline Online. And then these are the last one. So the one on the upper right left. This is the traveling ship named Dolos, which sell lots of foreign goods here. I had never been there in my senior high school, and I had heard about that it was the last time the ship went to Taiwan. So I told my college friends this news, and they all wanted to go there. It was the position at Keelung, and I knew the way to go there. There were many foreign books different from the bookstores, like recipes, Bibles, geography dictionary, and so on. The bottom of the picture, you can see a handsome guy took a picture with us. That is wonderful. And these are she took pictures of the sites in the local subway. So the gist of the story is there's so many vocabulary you can learn if you just pay attention to like everyday things in your life. So, how much time do I have? So, you have 30 seconds. So, just talk really quickly with the neighbor. What do you think all these, I already said these are pretty much a good representation of the things that sort of emerge from the students' work. So you can talk to your neighbor really quickly and see what other things.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sure it's more interesting to talk to your neighbor than listening to me, but because we're running out of time, so I want to just really ask you quickly, what do you see on the general things? Yes.
I think that from Taiwanese EFL student perspective, I think
Yes,
there are lots of ways of approaching English. So there are a variety of ways of learning English, I think.
Exactly. So like, one of the students say, if you really pay attention, there's so many different assets and free resources you can, take advantage of. And
There's a lot of pop culture, I think.
that is correct. There's a lot of pop culture, especially American pop culture, is a really prominent thing for these students, and which is not really surprising. They're really into like High School Musical. There are like 5 pictures of Twilight books. And so, anyone else?
Well, obviously, these pictures represent a time when they had something had a big impact on them, or is continuing to do so, and sustains their interest in English. For example, the one who sat with her friends and they all speak English together.
Right.
For her, the social network is a very important one, and therefore English is just the medium through which they're able to sort of glue that together. And then the others, and I'm also thinking in terms of your looking for agency in this. The cram school, which is typically portrayed as something negative, is actually a very positive factor in that one student's life, where maybe in class he wasn't the leader, but in cram school he gets to be the leader, and that's very important, again, in his sense of agency.
Exactly. So there's also another major thing from my data is people like to talk about themselves a lot. And their past experience, how they arrived here as a college English major, meant a lot to them. So they took time to really articulate their experience, and they talked a lot about that. So these are some of the things that I identify, like pop culture and the use of media or technology, like the internet is a big thing, naturally. And like Dr. Nichols brought up, the local community and the local social network is another big thing that really sustain them and support their learning in this process. And there's more. If you're interested, we can probably talk a little afterward. So then I want to just briefly talk about some of the pedagogical implications. I think it's really important. Yes, Photovoice or some forms of Photovoice is generally viewed as an action research tool, but because I was the one that brought this methodology into a classroom, so I really wanted to, one of my objectives is the students and teachers could also benefit from having me in there. And so we talk a lot about building a communicative classroom, a communicative curriculum. And we also talk about what it's like to be really critical and reflective of your own learning process. And also another benefit the teacher and I both see was this idea of community building. So, because some of the students may